Understanding the fruit versus vegetable debate. In recent years, we've seen the rise of the argument of what constitutes a fruit and what constitutes a vegetable within the media. The most talked about example of this is the poor infamous tomato. It has generally been perceived as a vegetable. In fact, according to Caitlin Dewey of the Washington Post, the Supreme Court case of Nix versus Heaton defined tomatoes as a vegetable. But now all we seem to hear is that a tomato is a fruit. So what is the reason for all this discrepancy, and what is the truth? The discrepancy lies in that fruits can be classified in two different ways, botanically and nutritionally, and people cross over criteria from each to classify the other, which is just illogical. To understand the truth behind these arguments, we have to first understand how nutritionists classify food and how botanists classify food. For our purposes here, food will refer only to the plant-based foods in question. So, understanding what foods are nutritionally. According to Sarah Chang and her colleagues, plant-based food groups are categorized as vegetables, fruits, and grains. For our purposes here, we're going to ignore grains, as they are monocots, non-flowering, and they don't pertain to the supposed controversy seen between botanical fruits and nutritional fruits and vegetables. Nutritionally, according to Judy King, whether foods are considered fruits or vegetables is based on the way they taste, not necessarily on their biology. And we're all familiar with our own concept of what a fruit and vegetable is based on our own perceptions. So in terms of nutrition, someone's professional opinion on whether something is a fruit or vegetable based on taste and differing nutritional value is completely valid, and therefore under this ruling a tomato is in fact a vegetable by nutritional standards. So understanding what foods are botanically. A botanical classification of foods is more objective, and as Judy King put it, based more on biology. According to Elizabeth Schwartz and her colleagues, a food's classification is dependent upon where on the plant that food grew from. And a plant is divided up between its roots, its stems, its leaves, and its flowers. Foods growing from the root, like onions and turnips, botanically speaking, are roots, and not referred to as vegetables like they are in reference to their nutritional value and taste. Likewise, stems like celery are classified as stems, botanically speaking, and leaves, like spinach, while also considered vegetables nutritionally, are classified as leaves under botanical science. A plant's flower is what gets it in trouble with the bloggers of today, seeing that this is the part of a plant which bears the fruit. Rachel Link classifies fruits from a botanical standpoint as containing seeds and developing from the flower of a plant. Those are the two botanical qualifications, nothing about flavor, taste, or nutritional value. So how do we understand the argument around fruits and vegetables? Well, there should be no argument of whether something, namely a tomato, is a fruit or a vegetable. The arguments made by people in the media in recent years, like Lynn Mettler, who say a tomato is a fruit because fruits contain seeds, seem to aim to change our everyday language and understanding of what a fruit and a vegetable is, instead of informing the public about a different scientific classification system for plants and what they produce. Because in terms of biology, a vegetable doesn't even exist. Well, they do, but plants are not classified under such a system. It's important for the public to understand the truth, that as far as they're concerned when they go to the grocery store to buy groceries for dinner, a tomato and other biologically classified fruits like squash, legumes, pumpkins, and corn, for their general understanding and purposes, are most definitely vegetables due to their low sugar content and nutritional makeup that is high in vitamins. To understand the argument that surrounds fruits and vegetables, you have to understand that to say tomatoes are both fruits and vegetables, while most definitely true, is in fact often misleading due to the lack of context that this classification of a fruit by biological standards is not the same as what the general public perceives to be a fruit which is under nutritional standards. The argument about whether foods are considered a fruit or vegetable in the media is paired with the idea that certain fruits like tomatoes, squash, whatever, are mistaken as vegetables. You need to understand that there's no mistake here. These foods are in fact vegetables. Many foods are both fruits under a biological standpoint and a vegetable under a culinary standpoint. Both standpoints are legitimate and hold their own merit for different groups of people. This lack of communication and understanding is the source of such irrational debates and overall ignorance of the most important thing to the general public, our health and what we are putting in our bodies. So know that yes, if you're a student studying biology and botany, things like tomatoes and zucchini are fruit due to the way they are produced. If you are part of the general public whose real interest behind the classification of different foods is its nutritional makeup for a healthier you, then know that yes, a tomato is a vegetable and offers the vitamins and nutrients characteristic of a vegetable, and they are not the same as our sugary sweet friends, the fruits, under nutritional standards, of course.